Galactic Council Hall was louder than usual. Hundreds of alien delegates sat in rising rows of crystal seats. Some floated. Some stood on metal legs. Some breathed gases that humans could not survive. Screens hovered in the air, showing stars, planets, and numbers that meant power. In the center of the hall stood one human. His name was Ethan Hale. He did not wear armor. He did not carry a weapon. He wore a simple dark suit, the kind a human might wear to a serious meeting back home. Ethan stood straight, hands relaxed at his sides. His face was calm, but his eyes were alert. He had trained for this moment his entire life. The council speaker, a tall insect-like alien with glowing eyes, leaned forward. Humanity has grown too independent, the speaker said. Too emotional, too unpredictable? Several aliens nodded. Some clicked their jaws in agreement. For peace. The speaker continued. Humans must remove one rule from their culture. A rule that limits cooperation. A rule that makes humans dangerous. A large screen lit up behind Ethan. One line of human text appeared. The aliens read it. Then the laughter began. It started small, a few sharp sounds, a few strange noises. Then it grew louder. Soon the entire hall was filled with mocking voices. That is not a rule, one alien said. That is a feeling, said another. A child's promise, laughed a third. Ethan did not move. The speaker raised a claw. Silence. The hall quieted, though smiles and glowing eyes remained. Human, the speaker said, do you accept the council's decision? Ethan looked around the room. He saw confidence. He saw pride. He saw beings who believed they were in control. He spoke calmly. No. The word echoed through the hall. For a second, there was silence. Then the laughter returned louder than before. Some aliens stood up. Others clapped their hands, wings, or tentacles. You refuse peace, the speaker asked, amused. You choose conflict, another voice mocked. Ethan shook his head slowly. We choose our rule, he said. The speaker leaned back. Explain this rule. Explain why the galaxy should care. Ethan took a breath. This rule was made before we met you, he said. Before faster ships, before alliances, before councils. The aliens listened, but only out of curiosity. It is simple, Ethan continued. If someone threatens one of us, they threaten all of us. More laughter. That is obvious, an alien said. That is weak. Another replied. No strategy, no logic. Ethan's voice stayed steady. It is not about strength, he said. It is about trust. The speaker waved a claw. Trust does not rule galaxies. Ethan nodded. That is true. He paused, then added softly, but broken trust ends them. The laughter slowed. Some aliens shifted in their seats. The speaker narrowed his glowing eyes. So you will not remove this rule? No, Ethan said. Then humanity will be forced, the speaker replied. Ethan looked up at the screen one last time. Then he looked directly at the speaker. Before you vote, he said, understand this. The hall grew quiet again. This rule is the reason we survived our worst days. It is the reason we crossed the stars. And it is the reason we do not beg. The speaker smiled. You are one species among many. Ethan nodded. Yes. Then he said the words no one expected. Then you have chosen silence. The council speaker laughed. The hall laughed. The vote began. As the laughter filled the chamber, Ethan turned and walked away. No threats, no warnings, no anger. Far from the council hall, deep in human space, systems began to wake up. And the galaxy was still laughing, unaware that it was about to go very, very quiet. After the vote, the Galactic Council moved on quickly. New topics appeared on the screens. Trade routes, border talks, resource claims. To most of the delegates, the human problem was already finished. Humans were stubborn, they believed. Stubborn species always learned the hard way. Ethan Hale returned to the human embassy ship in silence. The long hallway felt empty. The lights were dim. His footsteps echoed softly. A junior officer waited near the door. Sir, she asked, did they listen? Ethan shook his head. No. She opened her mouth to say something else, then stopped. She did not need to ask what came next. Inside the ship, no alarms rang. No red lights flashed. Everything looked normal. That was the first sign something serious was happening. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, old stations came online. Places the galaxy had never seen. Places built when humans still feared extinction. Across human space, messages appeared on private channels. They were not long. They were not dramatic. They all carried the same meaning. The rule stands. On a quiet colony near a dying star, a farmer read the message and closed his eyes. He kissed his child's forehead before walking toward the emergency shelter. On a mining station, workers stopped joking and began locking down sections they had not touched in years. On a distant research ship, a scientist erased years of work and sent one last data packet home. None of them panicked. They had practiced this. Back at the council, alien analysts reviewed the human rule more carefully. It was strange. There were no military orders in it, no ranks, no chain of command. It did not mention enemies. It did not describe weapons. It talked about responsibility. One analyst frowned. "This is not a war law," she said. Another replied, "Then why protect it so strongly?" They dug deeper into human history. They found stories of cities destroyed and rebuilt, of nations that fell and rose again, of humans who crossed oceans with nothing but hope and fear. Again and again, the same idea appeared. When one human suffered, others came. Not for reward, not for power, just because they could not look away. The analysts sent a report to the council. Most ignored it. A few did not. Meanwhile, human fleets did not move fast. They moved quietly. Cargo ships changed course. Civilian vessels became signal hubs. Old defense platforms rotated for the first time in decades. To alien sensors, it looked like chaos. To humans, it was order. Ethan stood alone in the embassy observation room, watching distant stars. He recorded a message. "This is not revenge," he said calmly. "This is not anger. This is a response." He paused. "You laughed at our rule because you thought it was small. You thought it was weak." He looked tired, but his voice was firm. "You do not understand humans yet. We do not need permission to protect each other." The message was sent, not to the council, but to human space. Back in the council hall, a junior alien officer rushed in. "Multiple human sectors have gone dark," she reported. The speaker waved her away. "They are bluffing." Another officer entered. "Human trade lanes are closed." The speaker frowned slightly. Then another report came. Human ships were positioning near key stargates. Still no weapons fire. Still no threats. Just presence. The council grew uneasy. One delegate whispered, "Why are they not speaking?" No one had an answer. Because humans were not preparing to argue. They were preparing to keep a promise. And far beyond the council's reach, the oldest human systems finished waking up. The galaxy had stopped laughing. But it had not yet understood why. The first sign of real trouble was not an attack, it was silence. Human news channels stopped broadcasting outside human space. Their public networks showed only basic signals. No opinions, no speeches, no explanations. For the Galactic Council, this was uncomfortable. They were used to noise, threats, demands, angry messages. Humans sent none of that. Instead, sensors across the galaxy began to light up. Human ships were everywhere. Not in one place, not in one fleet. They appeared near trade gates, fuel stations, communication hubs. They did not block them. They did not claim them. They simply waited. An alien commander watched the data scroll past his screen. "Why are they spreading out?" he asked. His assistant replied, "It looks like coverage." "Coverage for what?" The assistant did not answer. At the council hall, the speaker called an emergency session. Delegates arrived quickly this time. No laughter, no jokes. Humans have closed over 30% of their external trade, one analyst reported. Without warning, they are damaging their own economy, a delegate said. "This makes no sense." Another analyst spoke carefully. "Humans are not acting for profit." The room went quiet. Ethan Hale had returned to Earth. He stood inside a simple command room, surrounded by screens and quiet officers. No one shouted orders, no one rushed. Everything was already planned. A young officer stepped forward. "Sir, alien patrol near Gate 7 is testing our position." Ethan nodded. "Do not engage unless they cross the line." "What line?" she asked. "The one they already laughed at," Ethan replied. Near Gate 7, an alien patrol approached a human ship. "Move aside," the alien captain ordered. "This gate is under council authority." The human ship did not move. "This is your final warning," the alien captain said. Still nothing. The alien captain fired a single shot, a warning blast. The human response was instant. 3 human ships appeared from hidden positions. They did not chase. They did not threaten. They disabled the alien patrol in less than 10 seconds. No survivors. The message spread across the galaxy faster than light. The council froze. "That was an accident," the speaker said quickly. "An overreaction." But the fear had already started. Alien worlds began reporting human ships nearby, always at a distance, always silent. Civilian aliens started asking questions. Why are humans everywhere? Why are they not talking? Why do they look ready? The council sent a message to Earth. "This escalation must stop." Ethan read it and shook his head. "You escalated," he said quietly. "We responded." Another message came. "What do you want?" Ethan replied with one sentence. "We want our rule untouched." The council argued for hours. Some said apologize. Some said threaten. Some said attack before it was too late. They chose none of them. Instead, they voted to test humanity one more time. A small strike force was sent to a human outpost, not a city, not a military base, just a remote station. The attack was fast, too fast. Within minutes, the strike force vanished. Human fleets did not celebrate, they moved closer. The galaxy held its breath. For the first time, alien species began to understand something terrible. Humans were not angry, they were focused. Back on Earth, Ethan watched the stars again. They think this is about power, he said to no one. It never was. A senior officer approached. The council is scared now. Ethan nodded. They should be. Outside human space, alien laughter became whispers. Whispers became fear, and fear became silence. Because the galaxy was finally learning the truth. Humans did not make rules to control others. They made rules to remind themselves what happens when someone crosses the line. Fear spread faster than any fleet. It moved through markets, stations, and worlds in quiet ways. Conversations stopped when humans were mentioned. Jokes ended halfway through. Even the bravest alien captains lowered their voices. Human ships were still there, watching, waiting. They did not attack cities. They did not shut down planets. They did not demand surrender. That was the worst part. At the Galactic Council Hall, emergency lights glowed softly. Delegates filled the chamber again, but this time the seats felt smaller. The speaker looked tired. Humans have surrounded 12 key systems, an analyst reported. Not occupied. Just present. Why don't they strike? A delegate demanded. Another analyst answered slowly. Because they don't need to. Silence followed. On dozens of alien worlds, old war plans were pulled from storage. Fleets were readied. Shields were tested. None of it brought comfort. Every commander knew the same truth now. If humans wanted war, it would have already started. That meant something worse was coming. On Earth, Ethan Hale walked through a quiet room lined with names. Thousands of names. Ordinary people. Workers, parents, explorers, farmers. This room was not a war room. It was a reminder. A senior officer joined him. Council channels are open again. They want to talk. Ethan nodded. They can talk. The council speaker appeared on the screen. His voice lacked confidence now. Human envoy, he said. This situation has gone too far. Ethan replied calmly. It went too far when you laughed. The speaker hesitated. You are destabilizing the galaxy. Ethan shook his head. No, we are showing it the truth. What truth? The speaker demanded. That peace without trust is fake, Ethan said. And trust without respect is impossible. The speaker leaned forward. What do you want? Ethan answered without pause. Recognition of our rule. Full protection of it. No future vote against it. The council erupted in quiet arguments. You ask too much, the speaker said. Ethan's voice hardened for the first time. No, he said. We asked the minimum. As the call ended, something else happened. Across the galaxy, ancient human defense systems revealed themselves. They had been hidden inside asteroids, inside dead moons, inside drifting wrecks the aliens had ignored for centuries. They activated together, not to fire, to lock down space. Navigation routes changed, sensor maps updated. Entire regions became impossible to cross without human permission. Trade slowed to a crawl. Panic followed. Alien civilians demanded answers. Why can't we move? Why are humans controlling space? Why didn't we see this coming? The truth was simple. Humans had planned for this long before aliens existed. Because humans knew one thing well. Someone always laughs before they cross the line. Back at the council, a young delegate spoke up. We misunderstood them, she said quietly. The speaker snapped. Explain. They're not trying to rule us, she said. They're trying to make sure this never happens again. Another delegate whispered, what if we refuse? The answer came from an analyst. Then they will hold this position forever. The idea terrified them. Humans did not need victory. They did not need applause. They only needed the rule to stand. Ethan received one final ready. An officer said, no losses. No morale issues. Ethan nodded. Good, sir. The officer added, the galaxy is waiting. Ethan looked at the stars. So many worlds, so many lives. He spoke softly. We'll give them every chance. Far away, the Galactic Council prepared its final vote. For the first time in its long history, no one laughed. The galaxy held its breath, because everyone now understood one thing. If the Council chose wrong again, humans would not escalate. They would end the conversation. The Galactic Council voted without speaking. No grand speeches, no long arguments, just tired faces and careful hands pressing their choices. The result appeared on the central screen. Human rule recognized, protected, never challenged again. For a long moment, nothing happened. No cheers, no anger, no celebration, just quiet. The council speaker exhaled slowly. His voice was low when he spoke. Send the decision to Earth. The message crossed the stars in seconds. On Earth, Ethan Hale stood in the same quiet command room. When the message arrived, he read it once. Then again he nodded. That's it, he said. Around him, officers relaxed for the first time in weeks. Some sat down. Some closed their eyes. No one smiled. Begin withdrawal, he said. Slow and visible, human ships began to move, not rushing away, not hiding. They pulled back step by step, from gates, from trade lanes, from silent watch positions. Alien sensors tracked every movement, markets reopened, routes unlocked, navigation returned to normal. The galaxy breathed again. On alien worlds, people talked in whispers. They're leaving. They didn't take anything. They could have destroyed us. Fear mixed with relief. At the council hall, the speaker sat alone after the others had gone. He stared at the empty chamber. They had ruled the galaxy for centuries. Yet one quiet species had forced them to listen. Not with threats, not with speeches, but with a rule they refused to break. Days later, Ethan returned to the council hall. This time he was not alone. Human representatives stood beside him. Scientists, civilians, colonists, ordinary people. The speaker met him at the center. You could have taken power, the speaker said. Ethan shook his head. We never wanted it. Then why do this? The speaker asked. Ethan looked around the hall. Because someone laughed at something that kept us human, he replied. The speaker lowered his eyes. The meeting ended quietly. Across the galaxy, schools updated history lessons. Military academies rewrote strategy books. One new rule was added everywhere. Never assume human restraint as weakness. Back on Earth, life returned to normal. Children went to school. Workers returned to jobs. Ships carried food instead of weapons. But something had changed. Humans walked a little taller, not with pride, with certainty. Ethan visited a small memorial near the sea. Names were carved into stone. People who had lived, fought, and trusted each other long before aliens existed. A child nearby asked her parent, "Why are those names there?" The parent replied, "To remind us to keep our promises." Far away, the Galactic Council watched human space carefully. Humans stayed peaceful, but no one laughed anymore. Because the galaxy had learned the final truth. Humans do not make rules to show power. They make rules to remember who they are. And when humans say no, it is not a threat. It is a boundary. Cross it, and the galaxy will go silent again.